Welcome to the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. It is Thursday, March 11th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith with you, ready to break down the Thursday card. 10 games to break down, so a huge slate of action in NHL. But that's not the only sport with a lot of action today. It could be sensory overload for yours truly, the host in the captain's chair of this show on a daily basis, because I got TVs galore around me, 3 of them, side by side, all of them with conference tournament, college basketball action, wall to wall. All day, all night, not only today, but tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. It's going to be like that also. Lots going on in the sports world. But, of course, we're a hockey show. We're puckheads. Like I always say, it's better to be a puckhead than a fuckhead. And I think we're looking at a situation here where there's still a lot of hockey to focus on, a lot of hockey to get excited about. And this is a very fascinating card. We've got lots of interesting matchups, situations. We welcome in a brand new coach to one of these teams making his debut behind the bench tonight. So lots of interesting things to talk about with these games tonight. Let's get to it. We'll start with the Washington Capitals taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. We've got Philly minus 120, home favorites, total 6 shaded to the over in this game. Philadelphia Flyers maybe a little bit asleep at the wheel for periods of the game the other night against the Buffalo Sabres, although you can somewhat forgive a team for playing that way. I mean, with Buffalo, as bad as things have been, sometimes you get guilty of complacency and just thinking it's going to be an easy night, and maybe Philadelphia fell into that situation a little bit the other night against the Sabres, but they rallied back and they found themselves a 5-4 victory against Buffalo after trailing 3-1 early in that game. I think the Flyers will play well tonight. It's a little bit of a short turnaround revenge spot because Washington actually was playing in Philly Sunday night and beat the Flyers by a score of 3-1. I kind of like the Philly side here. I like the situation that they're looking to earn a little redemption for losing to the Capitals on Sunday night. And it's not like Washington was a very sturdy performance for 60 minutes from them the other night against the New Jersey Devils. They were up 4-1, coughed up the lead. The Devils actually came back and tied it. And Washington needed a Jacob Vrana overtime game-winning goal to survive a game comeback effort from the New Jersey Devils the other night. I still think Philly's a little bit more reliable defensively. I'm going to give them a pass for kind of not looking that way against Buffalo, and Carter Hart didn't exactly play well. But for the most part, I think their blue line's a little bit more reliable than Washington's. And I think now that they've got a lot of their key offensive pieces back, nobody's on that COVID list anymore for the Flyers. You're seeing that offense take off. So I like Philly, the side a little bit stronger than the total, but I'm also a little bit on the over in this game as well with the Capitals and Flyers. Alex, any thoughts from you on this game?
I like the total a little bit more than the side, to be honest. I would lean with Philly. So they dominated in this series. That throw the loss out from the other day, they had won 5 straight meetings against Washington. Like you said, now with everybody back healthy from the COVID list, basically for both teams offensively, I can see this being a back and forth contest. Like I said, Carter Hart struggled, even though he plays better at home than he does on the road. He's just been completely off his game as of late. So I think Washington will be able to capitalize on that. But Samsonov, even though he's 3-0-1, he hasn't looked is completely as sharp as he has in his previous seasons, previous starts. So I could just see this being a back and forth game. Not sure who wins this. Maybe even take a shot with a draw. This could be one of those higher scoring games that finds its way into overtime. But I like the over 6 at a cheaper chalk price.
All right, over 6 minus 110 with the Capitals and Flyers for Alex in this one. Florida, Columbus, Florida minus 125 to minus 130 road favorites, total 5.5 shaded to the over. And I was kind of worried and unsettled about backing Florida the other day. I shouldn't have been. But sometimes you just look at that price and you say, isn't that a cheap price tag for what we think is the better team and the team that has played like the better squad all season long, that being the Panthers? And it proved to be that way. They get the 4-2 victory against the Columbus Blue Jackets the other night. I don't know what changes here. I mean, it's kind of disappointing that things have just completely flatlined for the Columbus Blue Jackets. There's such excitement when they traded for Patrick Laine and Jack Roslovic from the Jets and sent, obviously, Pierre-Luc Dubois the other way. But, boy, it just hasn't panned out. The defensive game continues to struggle. Jonas Korpisalo actually played, I thought, better the last game against Florida. It still didn't matter. And prior to that, he had really been fighting the puck quite a bit this season as well for the Blue Jackets. So there's really a bunch of issues right now that this team has at this point in time. And, yeah, I know they're going to look to avenge the loss the other night, but just not playing very good hockey. Florida, I think as long as they don't get, overconfident, don't think that, we beat them once, we're going to have it easy tonight. I think maybe Philly was guilty of that, as I just talked about with Buffalo the other night. But I don't like thinking that way, and I don't like betting that way, just thinking a team might be complacent, a team might look past somebody. I think it's, once again, I'll go back to the Wells situation with the Florida Panthers. It's just a far better team right now, and Columbus having issues not only finding the back of the net, their power plays just completely fallen off in recent games, and obviously the defensive game and the goaltending of Korpisalo, quite frankly, it just hasn't been where it was last year. So I like Florida one more time here. Reasonable price once again, laying just $1.25 in this matchup. What do you think, Alex? Panthers, Blue Jackets.
Yeah, I played this game actually yesterday. Probably maybe about 20 minutes after we went off the air yesterday. I played this game because I thought for sure that minus 130 that was around was not going to be there today, and I'm stunned to see it being still in that minus 125, 130 range. I'm stunned because honestly, like I said, Columbus, this is a team that has taken a tailspin toward the bottom of the Central right now, and Florida's a team that, even though they haven't played well against Columbus over the years, they just only won 3 of the last 17 meetings against them. But like you said, we're talking about 2 different teams right now, 2 different franchises right now. Florida's been looking really good. They're 8-2 their last 10 games on the road. So that's a mark of a good team. That's something to start paying attention to nowadays too. With the second half of the season, teams that went on the road are teams you want to back, especially as favorites. I don't see where Columbus will hang around in this game, so I like them minus $1.30. I would even possibly take a shot with them in regulation, but these 2 teams somehow find ways to end up in overtime in games they shouldn't. We've seen that with Florida and Carolina a couple of times. Columbus playing in a couple of games where they had leads and they end up blowing them and going in the OT. So I'm going to play it safe and just lay the bigger favorite price with Florida.
Yeah, Merzlikins is in net for Columbus. He's ready to return between the pipes. He was injured for a while on the IR list. They need to give Korpisalo a break. I kind of like the move. Maybe it sparks them, but he hasn't played in a while. I don't like goalies when they haven't been in action for quite some time, and that's been kind of the case here with Merzlikins. And Bobrovsky, goalie Bob, is in for Florida, and he's played better lately. And hey, he's always going to get, you would think in theory, fired up to play the Columbus Blue Jackets, former team. So I don't mind the goalie matchup here for Florida when it comes to this game tonight. All right, next one up, we've got Winnipeg, Toronto. Toronto minus 180, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. Speaking of goalies, Connor Hellebuyck. If you watched this game the other night between the Jets and the Leafs, Connor Hellebuyck put on a show, especially in the third period. It was a high-danger scoring chance onslaught for the Toronto Maple Leafs in that game against the Winnipeg Jets. And it was a best bet win for me with Winnipeg on the show the other night, but a lot of it was thanks to the heroics of Hellebuyck. He was outstanding. He kept Winnipeg in the lead when Toronto was really pressing in the final 2 minutes. So I'm going to go on, take the money and run a little Steve Miller Band with this Winnipeg team tonight. I'm going to take the money that I got from them the other night against the Leafs, and I'm putting it in the pocket. I'm not back on the Jets tonight. I would expect Toronto to win this game. I think that they know they played well enough to win the other night against Winnipeg. They get a bit better puck luck, do a better job finishing. And of course, if Hellebuyck isn't even a tenth of as good as what he was down the stretch of that game, the Leafs might have tied it and maybe even come back to win the game. I still like what I've seen from the Jets. The goal that Kyle Connor scored the other night was fantastic. The pass, the little thread the needle pass that Nikolai Ehlers gave him on that goal the other night for Winnipeg was outstanding. If you didn't see the game live and you haven't seen the highlights of that game, check it out. It was just a beautiful pass from behind the net. Perfect, right on the stick, right on the tape. And there was nothing Freddie Anderson could do about it. So Winnipeg capitalized on their chances. And again, they're perfect off a loss. However, now they're off a win. I lean a little to Toronto in regulation here. The price is around that minus 120, minus 130 range with the Leafs in regulation. I don't know if I'll get there. I might still, but for now, it's just a lean with Toronto for me in regulation time, minus 130. Maybe the game goes over the total as well. I lean that way. Maybe the floodgates open just a bit for the Leafs tonight after having so many chances against Hellebuyck. And these weren't just regular shots, run-of-the-mill shots on goal. These were grade A chances. These were like stone-cold 10-bell saves from Hellebuyck. So for that reason, I could see this game transitioning a little bit more into a higher scoring affair. So I lean to the over, and I lean a little bit to Toronto in regulation. Alex, what's your thoughts here with the Jets and Leafs?
Yeah, I played earlier today. I saw the numbers open up for the first period over, and it was right at my threshold, 1.5 minus 150. It's a little bit high, but these two teams have been trending nowhere but up as far as first period overs go. Winnipeg 7-3, Toronto 6-4, each in their last 10 respectively, and in the last 12 meetings between these two, 8-4 to the first period over. So, like I said, I lean with the full game over. I grabbed that minus 150. It's now at 2 plus 120. For some reason, I've had a bad luck with twos in the first period totals, but I think this one should go over that 2 mark as well. But I'm just going to stick with the over. I like I said, I think it's going to be back and forth. Winnipeg has really found, like you said, we saw, like I said, a quality goal with Kyle Connor. They've been finding their stride offensively. And this is a Toronto team that they're not just that complete shutdown defense. We know that they can put up the offense and go back and forth in different battles, but I don't just trust them to just put up a 4-1, 5-1 win. I think they could win this game, but I think it's going to go back and forth. So I like the over, and it's a slight lean with the first period over.
All right, so lean to the over and a lean to the first period over as well for Alex. Nothing's official though on that game, right?
Yeah, no, nothing official for the show. Like I said, I have minus 150, 1.5 in my pocket. So maybe if we see a goal middle of the first period, look for something live. But I'm not going to lay 160, 170 at the spot right now.
Yeah, and don't love it at the 2 number either. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That makes sense. Definitely in that one. Nashville, Carolina. Carolina minus 230. Home favorites, 5.5 the total. Look, I made a bunch of money against Nashville. I think Carolina wins this game, but the adjustments being made to how good Carolina is and how rotten Nashville is against good teams. It's hard to find value. Vinny Trocheck's out tonight for Carolina, which does kind of bother me because he's played so well offensively this season for the Carolina Hurricanes. So that's going to hurt. Teravainen's been out. We'll have to see if he's getting close to come back. We'll have to see if he is able to return tonight for the Hurricanes or not. Like, I don't doubt Carolina's ability to win the game tonight, but again, the value is dissipating now to fade Nashville against these better teams. And they did play hard the other night against Carolina, although they still coughed up a lead and lost when it was all said and done. Nevertheless, I'm looking at this as Carolina or pass, but I'm going to pass. Again, I'm up a lot this season betting against Nashville. A lot of money in my pocket. I'm going to keep it there, at least for tonight. What do you think, Alex? Nashville, Carolina?
I would look at Carolina's team total. You can find it 3.5, over 3.5, minus $1.15. And this win streak they've had 6 games, they've scored 3 or more goals in all 6 of these contests. Where I said Nashville, I mean, everything's going wrong for Nashville right now. And like I said, I could see where maybe they get some goals of their own, but they're going to give up goals. So I feel more comfortable with backing anything Carolina. It would be the team total. Obviously, no value whatsoever, even on the regulation line or puck line when you're seeing a price at minus 240 for the regular money line. So Hurricanes team total over 3.5. I'll make that official.
There we go. Hurricanes team total over 3.5. And what was the price there?
And it's $1.15.
All right, that's not a bad price. Over 3.5 minus 115 with that Carolina team total for Alex B. Smith. New Jersey, New York Islanders. Islanders minus 210. Home favorites 5.5 shaded to the under. Pretty easy pass for me. Maybe a lean to the under. I could see it being low scoring. I could definitely see New Jersey. Lindy Ruff was not happy with the defensive breakdown. And again, they did come back against Washington the other night, but he said it after the game. Can't spot a team like that 3 goals and expect to win the game. I think they tighten it up. Islanders, of course, don't mind and love playing that style. In fact, under Barry Trotz. So if anything, I'd lean under the total. Nothing on the side. Islanders should win the game, but you're laying a hefty price, not a lot of value. And again, with the Islanders, Boston game went to overtime. They beat up on Buffalo before that. So this game has the makings of it could be a lower scoring and a tight contest. New Jersey has at times given the Islanders a pretty tough game. So that's why this game's a game I'm staying away from. Maybe you take a chance with the draw. I know Alex is the first period totals and draw guru when it comes to the Ice Guys crew. Maybe you look in that direction here, but that's just a lean for me. Same with the under. Just leans for me. Nothing in terms of an official bet for me on this game. Anything for you, Alex, with the Devils and Islanders?
Yeah, you called it. This game screams overtime, pretty much with these two teams and their styles of play. And like I said, this is a awfully inflated number for the Islanders, and the Islanders are that much better of a team than New Jersey. But like you said, they're not one of those teams that just really kind of have that killer instinct at times to put teams away. New Jersey is a team that has been feisty. They've fought back in the third, even though they buried themselves in a hole in the first 40 minutes of play more often than not. But I could see this easily being a 2-2 or 3-3 game. So you're getting a great draw price here too because of the inflated favorite number. I got it at plus 360 right now. So that's definitely worth taking a shot with. Not even if you're playing it just a quarter unit or a half unit personally. But I like this draw at plus 360.
That's right. And that's what you should be doing with the draw, because there are a little bit more variance with those. Take just a couple bucks, smaller bet than your normal wager size for like a standard spread or money line or a total. You definitely want to keep those smaller, but definitely good bang for your buck if they cash on those.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Usually I play all of my totals. Sometimes I'll go a full unit with the draw, but most times, and that's usually if there's a trend to follow. But if I just have a gut feeling like this one, I'll go a half unit. And then in the playoffs, of course, that's always a full unit with the draw, because we see that more often than not. Games obviously being close and tighter in the postseason. But yeah, somebody asked me that, I think last episode or episode before, what unit measurement do I use for the draw? So it tends to be more often than not a half a unit, but there will be times if I find a trend that backs it strong enough to go one full unit.
Yeah, that's definitely wise in terms of managing your bankroll. If you're going to bet the three-way draw in an NHL game. Pittsburgh, Buffalo. We've got Pittsburgh minus 210, road favorites, total 6 across the board. Buffalo actually played pretty well early in the game against the Flyers last night, and the roof caves in. They give up the lead. They lose in overtime. And the Buffalo Sabres lose once again, a team that even when they step up a little bit, they just can't sustain it for 60 minutes. This goaltending and defense is horrid right now for Buffalo. We've talked a lot about how Taylor Hall has underachieved. Eichel's been injured and missed the last few games. He might be having an injured heart, though, and an injured soul, just as much as an injured body part right now, as Alex hinted the other day. It's just not a good situation. And apparently they're saying something that Jack Eichel, in terms of his health status, it might be something that's a little more serious. So it's definitely something you want to keep in mind. Darren Drager was tweeting something about that earlier today, that all of a sudden Jack Eichel, we worry. And then all of a sudden as well, for a Buffalo team that's at least listening and kicking the tires on some trade offers for maybe some involving Jack Eichel, that impacts things quite a bit. You don't want to trade for damaged goods if you're another team. No question about that. You want to guarantee he's going to be able to return and help you at playoff time. So there's all kinds of question marks now about Eichel in terms of his health off the ice right now. So Buffalo's in a world of hurt. Pittsburgh's rolling. Pittsburgh's sweeping the New York Rangers in back-to-back games at home. They have played really good. You look at their record since Brian Burke and Ron Hextall, the new regime, took over, the new front office. I think they're like 9-3 or 8-3 or something like that since that time. So they've played good hockey here. Pittsburgh in regulation for me is just, an automatic here at around minus 120 to minus 130. I do like the over as well, because the Sabres are just hemorrhaging goals all of a sudden. They have a terrible defense right now. Jake McCabe, they miss him. He's been injured. They miss that guy. And forget it with the two goalies. I can't count on either of them, Alex, for a save right now. I don't care if it's Jonas Johansson. I don't care if it's Carter Hutton. Neither of these guys are guys that can keep the puck out of the net right now. They're struggling. I don't know if that's going to change at all right now. I like the over as well in this game. Over 6 at around even money. I think that's a good one to go with, because the Sabres have suddenly been over machines just because they've been giving up goals in bunches. I wouldn't argue with Penguins team total over. And I'm going to sprinkle on some goal scoring props in this game. I wouldn't argue with Rust, Crosby, or Gensel, anyone on that Pittsburgh top line. They're feeling it right now, all three of them. The guy that I like even more from a goal scoring prop tonight, the player for Pittsburgh, Kasperi Kapanen. This guy's really got it going right now. And you can get down to about plus 250 on him to score a goal in some spots tonight. So Kapanen's the one I like the most. The top line guys, Crosby, Gensel, Rust, I wouldn't argue with that. But bang for your buck, Kasperi Kapanen, he's now up to, I think, 7 or 8 goals on the season. The majority of them have been scored by him in like the last week or so. He's on a really good run offensively. I know Leaf fans will hate to hear that because he used to be with them, but nevertheless, they're playing well right now offensively, especially those top guys. So this could be a good night for them against this moribund, downtrodden Buffalo Sabres team. What do you think here, Alex? Pittsburgh taking on Buffalo.
Yeah, you mentioned that with Kasperi Kapanen. He scored 4 goals in his last 5 games, so he's been on fire. Like you said, Crosby and Rust, and that top line, they're getting things done too. And the fact that they're getting the offense rolling, they scored 21 goals total in the last 5 games. Now you're taking on a Buffalo team that's given up 24 goals in the last 5 games. This could get real ugly really fast. I like the Penguins here on the puck line, and I also like the Penguins team total over 3.5. That I got that around. Surprised that was minus $1.15 as well, but the puck line minus 1.5 at plus 125. And I was going to take a shot with the regulation at first, but because I have a couple other plays and I like that Florida money line, so I didn't want to have too many high favorites. So I'm going to play it a little safer price wise with the puck line, but I don't think this should be much of an effort here from Buffalo. Like I said, they're pretty much on auto fade as far as I'm concerned. I'm looking for some way to play against them, be it a team total or regulation or a puck line. So puck line and team total with Pittsburgh tonight.
Yeah, you can argue they've even been worse at home, believe it or not. And this is a home game for Buffalo. You could argue they've even been worse on home ice. At least on the road, the Islanders, they played good for a period or two in some of those games. They played good for half the game against the Flyers on the road the other night. At home, it's almost been even more lifeless and the worst performances from this Sabres team. So that's why I think it's even more value to bet against Buffalo at home because the prices will be cheaper. The puck line numbers will be a little bit more reasonable. And I think you could make a decent argument, at least, that Buffalo's play at home has been every bit as bad, if not worse, than their play on the road this season. No doubt about that. Next up, we've got the New York Rangers taking on the Boston Bruins. Boston minus 190, home favorites, 5.5 the total, shaded to the under. Tough loss for the Bruins in a really tight checking, low-scoring slugfest against the Islanders. Islanders prevail with the shootout victory, 2-1. They just cannot seem to win in Nassau Coliseum. It's got to be frustrating for this Bruins team. Although, again, they had chances. They had shots on goal. Just not a lot of finish offensively suddenly for Boston. This offense is nails on a chalkboard right now. I mean, they get shut out by the New Jersey Devils. They scored just the 1 goal the other night against the New York Islanders. So offense has been difficult to come by for the Boston Bruins right now. That's an issue going into this game against the Rangers. The Rangers are obviously having their struggles. I was kind of getting excited, Alex, for the Rangers playing a little bit better there. But then, most of those wins were New Jersey head-to-head. And then they finished those games against New Jersey. They played Pittsburgh twice. And I bought in hook, line, and sinker. Maybe the Rangers are going to get something going. And what ends up happening, back-to-back losses to the Pittsburgh Penguins for the New York Rangers. And the good news is Artemi Panarin might be nearing a return here for the New York Rangers. So that could be a good sign, help the offense a bit. Although, guys like Chris Kreider and Buchnevich have done a yeoman's work trying to carry the load offensively, but they missed the playmaking and the finishing of the bread man for sure. And they could definitely welcome him back into the lineup. Defensively, and goaltending's been kind of up and down for this Rangers team. That's been a bit of an issue as well. This game's just to stay away from it. It screams just stay away from it for me. I don't want to take Boston in any form here. Not money line, not regulation, and certainly not puck line because they can't score right now. But I'm done trusting the Rangers here for at least a couple of games. And I would think Boston brings a good effort after back-to-back losses here at home. So I'm passing on this game all around. Alex, what about you? Rangers, Bruins?
It's a lean for me with Boston and also a lean toward the draw here. Like I said, Boston's not playing in its best form, but they have done well against the Rangers for the most part. The only loss kept coming, a week ago with that 6-2 defeat, but they bounced back and picked up a win in that next meeting. So this is a Ranger team, like I said, looked like they had some things rolling, but they're one of those teams where they beat the teams they're supposed to beat, the bottom feeders in that Eastern Division. When they go up in class, they struggle. And that's just kind of the way it's going to be, it seems like, for the rest of this year. They're not going to mount too much of any kind of battle, barring some kind of crazy circumstance with some other teams in that division maybe dropping down. But I just don't see that happening right now. So it's a lean with Boston. But the draw, I think, makes a lot of sense here. I think these two teams can kind of play each other tight enough. We saw an overtime meeting between the two already. I wouldn't be shocked to see another one here tonight.
You're absolutely right about that. They played tight games, and they had one of those games go past regulation head to head earlier this season. So no doubt about it. Something to keep in mind that maybe and with the Boston Bruins, and if you can't score, how can you pull away and win by margin against somebody? So that might bring the draw right into play here tonight in this game between the Rangers and the Bruins. Next up on the Thursday card, Tampa Bay, Detroit, rematch of the other night. Tampa Bay minus 360 to minus 380 in some spots, although it's minus 340 in others. So we're seeing a wide range of prices here with the exorbitantly favored Lightning here in this game. 5.5 shaded to the under the total. I said the other day, we don't always get our gut feels right, or gut reactions right. But my gut reaction the other night with Tampa Detroit was dangerous spot for the Tampa Bay Lightning. A team playing Detroit after a slew of games against Chicago, Florida, Carolina, the best teams in the divisions. And they kind of sleptwalked through that game against Detroit. They turned it on when they had to. They turned it on when they were down in that game. They came back, they tied it, and then they found a way to win in overtime. So good stuff there from the Tampa Bay Lightning, no question about that. But definitely it was a game where they did not really bring it for 60 minutes. Now, will they do that tonight? You get the sense they might. I could see this being the game where Tampa Bay kind of puts the boots to Detroit, but where's the value? I mean, regulation, there's none. Hell, you're laying chalk. You're laying a price with the puck line here on Tampa Bay at minus 1.5 goals. There's just very, very little opportunity to find, wow, there's a great value bet to be made here on the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight in this game. It's just very, very difficult to find it. So for me, I'm going to be a staying on the sideline when it comes to this game. Alex, anything for you with Tampa Detroit?
Yeah, I'm going with the first period over 1.5. You getting it at pick and price minus $1.10. We've seen this cash in 6 of the last 8 meetings between these two teams, and that's gave it out on the show as well. Tampa Bay, the way that they've dominated against Detroit, and they started off hot early in the last game. I could see that being the same thing here. Even if Detroit can match them and get a goal, that just helps out our cause. So they can't play anything as far as a side's concerned, but I like this first period over. I think it's a great price, and I think we'll see at least a couple of goals from Tampa Bay and maybe one in from Detroit as well.
All right, Tampa Bay, Detroit over 1.5 in the first period for Alex B. Smith. In his vehicle, I believe we have Jimmy Murphy with us. Jimmy, welcome in. What do you think of Tampa, Detroit?
Yeah, I apologize for any bad connections, guys, on the road. With this game, I'm liking a team total over for Tampa Bay in this game. I totally agree with everything you guys said. There's really no value in taking the Lightning on the side. So give me the team total over.
All right, I'll get your thoughts, Jimmy, on the Bruins game in particular. Bruins and Rangers, we talked about that one. I'm passing on it. Alex kind of leans to Boston in regulation, but nothing strong. What do you think for the Bruins? They can't put a puck in the ocean right now, Jimmy. What's going on with them?
I mean, first of all, to give them, I'm not trying to make excuses for them, and they're not going to make excuses either, but they are really ravaged by injuries on the blue line right now. And, when people think of offense, they always think of forwards, but really, if you look at the contenders, the good teams that win the Stanley Cup or get far in the playoffs, like the Tampa Bay Lightning and Dallas Stars, their offense generates from the back end. And right now, they can't seem to do that. And they really can't get that puck out of their zone quick enough. So I think we're going to see this for a bit with the Bruins, and they're really just going to have to rely on their goaltending. And that's why I'm going to go with the under in this game. I think on the side, I lean to the Bruins winning, but I think right now the Bruins are really just going to rely on goaltending and defense and hopefully pop a few in on rebounds.
All right, liking the under in the Bruins and Rangers game, Jimmy, in that one. All right, we'll move on to Chicago and Dallas. Dallas minus 150, home favorites, 5.5. The total shaded to the under in this one. This is all of a sudden a pretty big statement game, or what do you got to say for yourself? That reminds me of the friggin' Frank Costanza when he's talking to the doll that looks like his wife in Seinfeld. He rips the head off it. Hey, what do you think now? What do you got to say for yourself? He says that. And that's kind of what I feel like I should say to Chicago now. What do you have to say for yourself tonight in this game after that embarrassing effort the other night? Terrible effort, terrible performance on what was Patrick Kane's 1,000th career game. Didn't play well at all. Dominated, outshot, outplayed, out-hustled, losing all the puck battles, terrible defensive play. hung Subban out to dry. Subban wasn't great either, but it was a team failure collectively. Everyone involved, poor game. And now all of a sudden they're losing their ground a little bit in the division. Things are getting a little bit more tight now in terms of their hold on a playoff spot. Dallas is starting to put some things together, play better the last couple of games. This is an important game for Chicago. Can they rise up? It's kind of once bitten, twice shy for me. I took Chicago. I really liked them the other night, and they disappointed me greatly. I kind of want to come back to Chicago tonight, but I'm a little bit more gun shy and a little bit more hesitant. Hudobin in net. It'll be back to Kevin Lankinen tonight for Chicago. And let's be honest, Lankinen's kind of had a tough time the last few starts. He's kind of gone backward in the other direction. So we'll see, but I think Chicago, in theory, this is a spot where they should bring it, but I thought they'd bring it the other night. They didn't. I still lean Chicago, but got to admit, a little gun shy going into this one. Alex, what about you? Chicago, Dallas.
Yeah, I'm going to take one more shot here with the Hawks, and if they don't pull it together in this game, then it's going to be time to fade them, and more than likely also be looking at some of their overs too. Like I said, it's going to be up to Lankinen once again to make some brilliant saves and bail out the defense that was absolutely atrocious once again. And last time they were out there, it wasn't all Malcolm Subban's fault. He made 31 saves. He was asked to make some gigantic saves at times, and he just couldn't answer to all of them. But that defense in front of him was just absolutely terrible. And then the offense as well. I mean, they got to find ways to carry the puck in against Dallas. You can't just, dump and chase, especially with the size advantage that they have over the Hawks. For the most part, they're a much more physical team than the Hawks. And that's part of the reason why they're able to blow them out in that fashion. So the Hawks have to, play their game, but they got to be smart about it. And they've got to start. It starts with solid defense. So if they can get that and they can get the good goaltending from Lankinen, which I always feel more comfortable with Lankinen in that than Subban. At a plus price here, I'm taking a shot at the Hawks, but like I said, this is I wouldn't talk anybody off of just staying away from this game altogether, but definitely a watch and see, because if the Hawks have the same kind of effort or run out of gas in this game, then it could be trouble ahead.
And we'll have to see if Dallas wins tonight. Does this propel a run for them? That's going to be the big question. Jimmy, do you want to trust the Hawks one more time tonight as they play Dallas again?
No, I don't. And as I was saying about the Dallas Stars, they were really winning when they had that offense coming from the defense. And I think the return of Klingberg really helps them a lot. I like what they showed the other night. And yeah, I do think they're about to go on a little run, because it's basically do or die for them. With all the games they missed because of COVID and everything, they're behind the 8 ball, and they know that they really don't have any room for error. So give me the Dallas Stars on the money line tonight.
All right, like in Dallas, minus 145. Ride the team that's feeling it against the Chicago team that's trying to find their way again, find their footing again here going into this game tonight. The final game on this Thursday card, it's the Montreal Canadiens and the Calgary Flames. Even money on both sides, minus 110, total 5.5 shaded to the over in this game. Radulov may return. You're right. Someone in our chat saying that in the next game for Dallas. So yeah, and Sagan is going to come back hopefully soon at some point. So that's really when we can evaluate Dallas. If they get those two of their best forwards and scorers back, and then keep playing good hockey, maybe they can make a season out of this still after a really tough start that they've had for the first month and a half. Montreal and Calgary. Look, we know what the main storyline is here. It's Daryl Sutter, head coach of the Calgary Flames, back with the team, and he'll make his Flames debut behind the bench tonight. He finally arrived with the team Tuesday, and in his very first practice, very Sutterian of him on Tuesday, bag skate for about 45 minutes for the Flames in his very first appearance on the ice in a practice environment with the Calgary Flames. So this guy's not screwing around. He's there to, crack some skulls. He's there to snap this team to attention, because, Calgary to me has always been a little bit overvalued and overrated. I've said that for a year or two, but there's a better talent on this team than what they've shown so far this season. They're still better than what their record indicates. I don't know if they're a lot better, but they're at least a little bit better. We'll see if we get the step up effort tonight. Like I said, when we talked about the hiring initially, I don't know if this is a long-term, this is going to work. This is going to get Calgary into the playoffs, and this is going to make them a Stanley Cup contender like Daryl Sutter, the Magic, like it worked for him in LA with the Kings. I think there's a little bit different situation. But the one thing we saw with Sutter when he took over LA was the team immediately went on a short-term spurt. They went on like an 8-2, 9-2 type run. I think you're going to get, at least for the first couple games, Calgary playing this game like it's game 7 of the playoffs. They're talking about how they love the bag skate. I don't know if they're just doing lip service, but I'm reading Monahan and Gaudreau, Giordano saying, hey, we needed that. We need a wake-up call. We kind of needed that to get ourselves going again and realize that there's how much better and how much harder we have to work and play as a hockey team. We'll see if those words translate to action on the ice tonight. From a spot perspective, it couldn't be better for Calgary because they've had all these days off. They brought Sutter in. He's gotten a couple practices under their belt. They're rested. They haven't played since Sunday when they had that loss to the Ottawa Senators, whereas Montreal's now playing their 3rd road game in 4 nights, a very late game last night. That wasn't even the normal Vancouver start time. That was 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. That game started last night. So this is a very short turnaround for Montreal on a back-to-back. It'll be Jake Allen in net because we saw Carey Price last night. Allen's been very good this year, but all of a sudden, Montreal's dropped 4 straight starts with him in net. So all of a sudden, things have kind of gone backward a little. Not that he was to blame, but lately they haven't been winning quite as much with Jake Allen in net Montreal. I'm going to bet the angle. I don't always just knee-jerk bet it or blindly bet it, but I think it makes sense here. Calgary's saying the right things. They sound like they're going to be enthusiastic, really play well, play hard tonight. I like Calgary here at even money, -110, and the spot in the schedule lines up in their favor too, with Montreal on the back-to-back after a very late game in Vancouver last night and now playing their 3rd road game in 4 days either. So will this be a long-term huge run for Calgary and all of a sudden they're going on this crazy run? I don't know, but for tonight at least, I think you're going to get an A game from the Calgary Flames. I think they get the win. I'll go with Calgary here, -110. Alex, what's your thoughts here? Flames hosting the Habs.
Yeah, like you said, you nailed it with the scheduling and timings. But I saw that last night. I wasn't sure what the reason for that later start in Vancouver was. Do you know what that was about, Ian?
I don't know either. It was bizarre. It was just all of a sudden 8 p.m. Pacific in Vancouver. And of course, normally at 7 p.m. local time, there starts there. So I was surprised the game started that late, but definitely did a disservice to Montreal because now they're playing 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific tonight on the second of back to. So it's a less than 24-hour turnaround. It is a 22-hour turnaround from when they played last night, less than 24 hours. So tough scheduling spot for the Canadiens.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you have that, like I said, the 3rd night and 4 games as well, that could definitely lend it, its way to looking at fatigue on the Habs side. But I think more so going to be energy from Calgary. Like I said, after having the bag skate, these guys know that, hey, we need to, buckle down and get things rolling and get it rolling in a hurry because, you got a whole half of the season. Maybe this could be the push that puts them in the playoffs. I don't think it is either. I'm with you. I think that, they'll play better hockey, but they're still going to probably fall a bit short after the start that they have. But I think we're going to see enough energy and effort from them tonight where they should be able to get the win here at a good pick and price. So I'm going with the Flames as well.
All right, Calgary, actually -105. Really good, reasonable price here, given the situation, which I think is a good one for Calgary. Jimmy, what do you think here with Montreal taking on Calgary?
I'll tell you guys, just to get to you on the whole deal with why that game was so late last night. According to Pierre McGuire, I heard him talking yesterday. He said it was because of the NBC Wednesday night game. They didn't want it to go head-to-head with that game, and so they pushed that one back and made it a little later. So that's your answer to that. But yeah, I love this.
Now down to NBC.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise
Well,
me.
that's weird too because the NBC game started earlier. They were 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock and 8 and 9:30 Eastern. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe they're looking at the 9:31 would have rolled too much into it if they started at 10. So that might have been it. Yeah, I don't know, but who knows? I don't begin to try to figure out TV questions there. But I'll tell you what, guys, I love this spot for the Calgary Flames. I mean, like you guys said, the fatigue's got to set in here for the Canadiens, and kudos to them. They really turned it around here. They've gotten points in 7 straight games. So good for them. I thought that was a good showing against a Vancouver team that was starting to play better. For them to come out and win in the fashion they did, made a statement. So they're allowed kind of I won't say a night off, but they're allowed a dud tonight, and that's exactly what I think you're going to get. So I'm going to take 2 bets in this one. One of them is going to be my official bet as well, and that will be the my official best bet as well, and that will be the puck line for the Calgary Flames. And then I'm also going to take under on the goals scored by the Montreal Canadiens. I believe it's at under 2.5. So give me the under there on Canadiens goals scored tonight.
All right, there we go. Jimmy liking the Calgary puck line, -1.5 here in this one at a very solid plus price there, and also Montreal team total under as well. And you're right, this is Daryl Sutter is going to demand team commitment defensively. Simple as that. Everywhere he's been, that's essentially what you're going to have. You're not going to back check. You're not going to back pressure. When you don't have the puck on your stick, you're going to be benched. You're not going to play. Simple as that. He wants that team commitment on the defensive end of these. I think you're probably going to see that here from the Flames forward. Kind of like the way the Leafs transitioned in the first days that Sheldon Keefe was the head coach for the where they really focused and emphasized defensive hockey. I think you're probably going to see that here for the Calgary Flames as well, going into this game against the Montreal Canadiens. So Jimmy liking the puck line +225. The team total for the Habs is under 2.5, +110. So you get a slight plus price on Montreal's team total to go under 2.5 tonight. All right, that is the Thursday NHL card. We've gotten through all 10 games. Great stuff with Alex B. Smith and Jimmy Murphy on the road, going mobile, like the Who would say, on this Thursday edition of the Ice Guys Hockey Betting Show. Before we get to best bets, another reminder, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And when you do sign up for an account, use the promo code THPN. And when you use that, you will get a deposit bonus. You'll get weekly incentives, specials, bet boosts, all kinds of perks to downloading the DraftKings Sportsbook app, signing up for an account, and using the promo code THPN with that. All right, great show as always, guys. Always fun to be with you 7 days a week, the only 7 days a week NHL betting show anywhere. Again, we're live noon Eastern, Monday to Friday on YouTube, noon Eastern, Saturday and Sunday on YouTube for our weekend editions. We're on here 7 days a week breaking down every game. Alex, let's turn to you. Best bet for Thursday. What do you like?
Yeah, I just want to mention everybody quickly too. Circle your calendars for Wednesday, March 24th. We got a couple of big announcements and events going on that day, that night. So
Yes.
Stay tuned with that. And like I said, we'll have more updates on our Twitter page at @_Ice Guys, and following us on there. Follow our accounts as well. But tonight's best bet, I'm going with the Pittsburgh Penguins on the puck line, -1.5, +125 against the horrible Buffalo Sabres. This game should be over with pretty quick and pretty fast. I think we're going to see goals galore. Like I said, I also like that team total, but my best bet will be the Penguins on the puck line at +125.
All right, there we go. Pittsburgh Penguins puck line -1.5, +125. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. Jimmy, you already said your best bet. You can reiterate it. Calgary puck line, right?
Yes, give me the Jimmy puck line on the Calgary Flames tonight. Daryl Sutter gets his, well, I guess it's not his first win as a Flames coach, but his first win in many moods.
It'll be fun to see him back. And like we've said many a time, it'll be even more fun to see the Daryl Sutter press conferences back. They are classic. Some of them are legendary. We'll start to see some of those again now that he's back behind an NHL bench. And mine is also a different form of betting Calgary, but my best bet is also Calgary. I'm just going a little bit safer than Jimmy. I'm going with Calgary money line here, -105 against Montreal. Great spot. I expect them to play one hell of a game tonight in Daryl Sutter's first game behind the Flames bench. I expect Calgary to really bring a good game to the ice tonight. I'll go with Calgary -105 against Montreal. That is my best bet for this Thursday edition of the Ice Guys. And that'll wrap up this edition of the show. Thank you to everyone for tuning in live on YouTube. And a reminder, if you can't join us live on YouTube daily for the show as we record it, you can always download the audio podcast version of the Ice Guys NHL Hockey Betting Show daily on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith and Jimmy Murphy, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Thursday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. Not only NHL, enjoy all the college hoops action as well. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Friday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.